Hey, 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 secondhand soul fans!
Hey, 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 secondhand soul fans. It's me, your friendly neighborhood soul man, Loud Dynamite Miller. And I'm here with
Kathy Fern.
And the sax man, Dave Drower.
what's up, everybody? How we doing? Here we are at episode 19 of the
Yeehaw.
Secondhand Soul Band
That's
Show. You still with
right.
us? All right,
Oh,
and we got a big
yeah.
show for you today, as usual. Today we are going to be going over the Bears game. We're going to recap the Bears game. Then we got a special tribute, Soul Lives On, to one of our good local Chicago friends who's passed away. Then we have our famous segment, Over Underrated, and we got another diva today. And then the Art Ghost segment, we're going to talk David Bowie. Interesting. Dave is going to go off, as usual. And then we got an interview with the Secondhand Soul Band. We're going to meet our drummer, the beat man, Dart Gun. So stick around for that. All right, let's get started.
Let's get started.
Bad news Bears. Whoops.
Whoopsie.
Oh,
Not
no.
this week.
Oh,
Not
no.
this week, though.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, that's from an old segment there, like from last year, because it's nothing but good news from the Bears this year. Isn't that right, Dave?
That's right, man. And I have to say, I'm sorry. We just yes, the Bears are it. And
Yeah.
and they played South Carolina today. Not today, last weekend.
Yeah.
And hey, man, they're 5-1 now. They're 5-1. So I know that this one, I feel like, was the most decided win they've had so far.
Yeah.
The Bears defense comes out right off the bat, interception, like boom, 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 and I was like, okay. And even when Foles is throwing interceptions, man, I'm not even worried. I'm like,
Right.
Hey,
You feel like they're going to come back.
well, and they were never losing. It was. I'm a believer. And watching Tom Brady, sort of whip Rodgers out of shape. Oh man, it was a great Sunday football. And I had to tell you about this, Lyle. Like, I'm not a fan of COVID. I'm not a fan of the band not playing. I'm not a fan of any of this. But I am a fan of like football almost every single day.
Yeah.
Because it was Monday night. It was Monday afternoon. It was Monday night. Last week it was Tuesday night.
I thought,
Monday
I was
night,
going to say, I saw Tuesday.
Thursday night. It's like, hey, NFL, you might learn something. Like, I would watch all the games. Like, if you had games 7 days a week.
They could dominate. If they work that schedule out right, they could dominate. They could be on 7 days a week, sure.
Exactly. And it's like, why do baseball players make more money? They play a bunch more games, than they're on TV a lot more, so there's a lot more money involved in it. And what athletes really are the ones getting beat up? Like, I'm sorry, it's not the baseball players. Like, the football players, they're the ones that are getting knocked up. But yeah, it's one of those very low, like, you're like, all right, this is a silver lining I could like a little bit. Just
Yeah, right. Yeah, I hear you on that. At least there's more football.
So
you got to find a silver lining.
Exactly. And if we're going to talk about the Bears, we got to talk about next week, because the Bears are playing on Monday night. If we know anything, my mom reminds me of this on the regular. The Bears cannot play on Monday night. Yeah. But they also can't play in prime time. So that's been like the thing for years. And honestly, I'm not terribly worried about it being a Monday night game. I feel like they're not the team they used to be necessarily. I think it's gonna be a good show, Kathy. And
I'll be
Monday
watching.
Night, yes.
Yeah, there's not one guy on that team who knows about all the. There's not one guy on that team who knows about all the bad luck. So it's fresh new guys, and everybody knows.
Hey, and On my ESPN fantasy draft, I was the #1 drafter, and I've lost every single game. It's been ridiculous. It's like, right, they have no idea about any of this stuff. And of course, like Lindsey Graham has been on my bench because I have Travis Kelce from Kansas City, which he's going to be guaranteed points every week. And then, of course, I put him in, and then the Bears are like putting in rookie tight ends to get touchdowns. It's like, that's a day goes off in another life. But it's just like, man, this is why I don't gamble, my friends. It's just because I like knowing.
I think it's Jimmy Graham, by the way. I don't know if Lindsey Graham.
I was going to say
the hands ain't that good.
Jimmy Graham,
right?
Jimmy Graham. Did I say?
I'd rather see him run a 40.
Jimmy Graham.
At least if Lindsey Graham was on a football team, he could do a lot less damage.
Come on. Give me a break. It's recorded.
But yeah, Jimmy Graham, I mean, when he was with the Saints, like he was the top scoring tight end in the league. And now the Bears won't even throw to him in the end zone.
Oh, no, they'll throw it to him, but for some reason, right when I put him in on my fantasy roster, it's like they're taking him out.
Like when you watch the car and it rains, it's the same thing.
Oh, I already went over that with my motorcycle. Car, not so much as big of a deal, but yes. All right. So we got to move on, my friends. We got the Soul Lives On, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. So this is a special local edition. Unfortunately, we lost a great entertainer this last week, Mr. Tony Bernard. A lot of people know him. You've seen him play everywhere. He was only 58 years old. He had a lot of medical issues, and unfortunately, his body just gave out. So he did a lot. He worked in Vegas for a long time, and keyboard player we work with a lot, Fred Broderick, is really good friends with Tony, and unfortunately Tony lost his battle this last week. So his visitation was yesterday, and the funeral was today. But there's also a GoFundMe page, and I just wanted to put that out there because he really relied on music for his main source of income. So obviously took a big hit this year, and that's his GoFundMe. You see it on the screen. If you feel if you've ever seen him and you were ever entertained by him for just a minute, think about donating a few bucks in his honor, because his family's struggling a bit, and we'll really miss you, Tony. You were a gentleman of all things. You were just a gentleman and just a super nice guy, and so giving. A lot of musicians that I know said that they helped him. He helped them get their start. Connected them with the right people, helped mentor them with what equipment they needed to buy and do their thing. So, he really gave it all when he was on stage, and he actually sang a couple songs with us at a few different gigs, and what a classy guy. And so it's just really sad, and just to see this. I saw him on my birthday in September, and unfortunately he has gone on to play with the big band in the sky. So we'll miss you, Tony. Thanks for all the great memories and entertainment. So rest in peace.
All right, you know what time it is. It's time for Over Underrated, that segment where we take an artist and we examine their career and decide whether they were overrated, underrated, or getting just the right amount of praise. And who do we have today, Dave?
Well, we've done the King of Pop before already, We did Michael Jackson a long time ago. So today we're doing a little more controversial Jackson. We're doing Janet Jackson.
Janet Jackson.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. Janet Jackson. And she's one of many of the Jacksons, I guess. And
I would say second most successful Jackson.
Yes, I guess from a singing perspective.
Entertainment. I mean, who else?
There's been some. Well, who was it on American Idol? What was that? Randy Jackson?
He's not related to them.
Oh, yes, of course. See, so there you go. Perfect.
Yep,
that was a perfect response. He was just a Jackson. Not
Yep,
the
same.
Jackson. Right.
Right.
A random Jackson.
Yes, the
Yeah.
random Jackson. Well, all right. Let's get focused on Janet
Yeah.
because honestly,
All right. Yeah. So right off, I'm gonna say she's definitely overrated.
completely overrated.
I've
Like
never liked the voice. I'm sorry. What are we talking about here? It's not any singing.
It's not
She's
really
just
a
whispering in
voice.
tune.
Wiz-
You know who?
right.
You know who's
It-
underrated? Who's underrated is her sound guy. That guy's underrated.
Nah.
The fact that we can
always
hear her.
underrated. We're always underrated. Exactly. But he didn't use auto tune. I'll say that that's a positive from
That's
a
true.
sound guy perspective because that I just can't stand that electric sound that sometimes they almost like duplicate over recordings. They'll have somebody singing in tune and then they overdub like a higher octave auto tune to get that like I don't know. I call it like the hip hop like chorus electric sound, and it's very annoying. But she's completely overrated.
Yeah.
Like,
Now she's had a ton of records, but that doesn't really that's that you can put out a bad record 3,000 times. Now she's got a lot of good songs, but it's just her. It's the voice is I think maybe if she wasn't related to Michael Jackson, she'd be an okay artist, but maybe that's
really?
making it even worse
I
for her.
don't even think she would have been an artist if she wasn't related. There was no way she would get any traction. Like
That
even
I
look
will
at her
definitely give you.
albums, like they're just timed to her running out of money. It's like every 4 years, it's like, all right, I started a new degree in college that I need to pay for. But she obviously, no, it wasn't that. But she just ran out of money, and then it was like coming out with an album, and then listen through it. She's just copying the style from the time that the album comes out, and it just keeps going. And then she gets a
It's
few artists to
producers.
pop on. Right.
I don't
And
even
then,
think she's
of course,
written anything.
she's known for the nip slip, right? It
That's the weirdest picture ever. Look at their faces.
Okay.
yes.
This has always bugged the hell out of me too.
I still need to know what happened. I need to know, like, they never really came clean with what happened.
Well, they talked about it. It was a choreographed thing where at the end he says, "I'm going to have you naked" at the end of this song, and he's supposed to tear this covering over, and there was another covering underneath, but he tore both of them.
Oops.
On accident.
Right.
And her breast popped out.
Exactly.
But he was supposed to just tear the one, and then there was this like kind of a mesh thing that was supposed to cover her, but the whole thing came off, and it was an accident. And then all of a sudden, she was a slut. What the hell was that about? I didn't understand that. I mean, like they banned her off of TV. It wasn't as if
come on. Let's not get into the media. Like,
well, no, let's get into the media.
No, let's get into it. Why did that happen?
I mean,
why
seriously.
did that happen? Because
why didn't he get blamed for it just as much as her? He did the tearing.
Yeah, he did the tearing. And look at their faces. Look at the Charlie picture. Look at their faces. They're both shocked. Like, oops, that's your tit, isn't it?
Like, oh, no.
that's the boo.
No.
It reminds me of Sturgis. Like at Sturgis, that's how the girls were dressed. It was not a big deal.
Yes, but they weren't looking at the
during the Super Bowl.
Right, and they weren't looking at the areola in surprise, like, "Oh, what the fuck are you doing out here?" It wasn't that. That was the look on her face.
If you go to Sturgis and you don't see some nips, you're going to the wrong Sturgis.
It was very entertaining, but still, we're not talking about that popping out because if that's the top of her career, then you need to be a stripper and not a singer.
Right. See, that's what I'm saying.
Down to. Right.
That's not the top of her career. That's what she was defined as. But the thing is,
I
because there was no voice.
But there's no voice. Exactly. She and when she tries to sound like Michael Jackson, it's even worse. It's like.
So
why
do
would
we
you do
think
that?
she's a good dancer? She's a good dancer, though.
No good dancer.
Okay.
Yes, we're not talking about.
Even when she had the weight on her, she was a good dancer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even when she was heavy.
Yeah.
But for me, the voice has to be there. The voice has to be there. I dance. The voice has to be there. I'm not as good a dancer as Janet Jackson. I'll say that. But
the voice.
But
is what
I
the
make up for it in
segment's about,
both.
man.
In voice.
And it's not there. It's not there. But
No.
she has name
And it's-
recognition. Again,
Yes.
so making money in the music business, we never said that it was about. That's why we made this segment, Lyle. It's like it's not about the most talented. It's not about the most in tune. It's not about the most soulful. It's the music business stinks, and and the man stinks as well, which we're going to get into later because I have a great Dave Goes Off segment this week.
Okay, before
But-
you go on though, I got to show this. That was when I got to meet Randy Jackson. I heard from a bar owner that I knew that he was going to be there to film some, like, you know, it was American Idol. They were going to present some chick with a ticket, like, hey, come audition for the show. So we got to go early, and I was sitting in the crowd, and he was like going to walk out the door, and I literally like T-boned him at the doorway, like, you are not getting out of here without me getting a picture.
Oh man.
So his face was like, oh.
All right, dog.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, so I'm gonna say overrated. I always thought that way. 10 years before the nipple, I thought that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Overrated completely.
Over fucking rated. Freaking rated. Like, I mean,
absolutely.
You know, like she's like one of the biggest stars in the world and couldn't sing her way out of a wet paper bag. Okay, that's the end of it. That's the last thing I'm gonna say.
That's done.
But it's the truth.
That's done. All right. We have we have the Netflix rewind, yeah?
Yeah, so last Saturday we invited everyone to a Netflix party. It was very cool. You can watch Netflix and invite people to watch it with you in real time. So we're all seeing it at the same time. And then there's a chat window along the side, and then you can chat with people while you watch the movie. So we ended up watching What Happened, Miss Simone, and it was the story of Nina Simone. It was a documentary, and I really didn't know much about her. It was so damn interesting. You know, she battled racism in her lifetime, and in the early 60s and early 70s, you know, she was so popular, but she started out as a piano player and then ended up as being known for her singing. And it was kind of weird, like to think that, you know, a classically trained pianist who actually lamented about not being able to play classical music when she finally made it to Carnegie Hall on her own dime. Her and her husband promoted the show to be able to let her do that. And she had to play the pop hits that she was kind of known for, just because that's what people wanted to hear. And so it really, it hurt her not to be able to be fully expressed in what she was. But, you know, she definitely understood the whole marketing thing and, you know, the songs that you needed to play to stay popular. And she worked her butt off her whole life, and, you know, at some point resented her career and resented her husband because she had to keep making money. She had a lot of people that depended on her to live. And obviously that's still the case today with a lot of people. They get these big posses of people they need to support. And then all of a sudden you're not making art to make art. You're making art to make money. And that changes kind of what you're producing. So, about her voice, you know, she wasn't technically perfect, but it was a very different voice and a very memorable voice. And she obviously portrayed so much emotion in her singing that it almost didn't matter, right, Lyle? I mean, as a singer, you know that we may not be technically perfect, but if you put all of your emotion and all of your feeling into what you're doing, that's what people connect with. It doesn't matter that you're perfect pitch. I mean, we've seen, you know, auditions with people on these shows, and yeah, they're great singers, but they don't connect with the audience in any way. And we've seen many singers who really don't know how to sing all that well.
Right.
Joe Cocker, like some people we've talked to before, but
yeah.
It didn't matter. Like they just know how to connect with the audience.
Yeah, it's all in the voice. And that was, I think that the message and what was in her songs was more important to her than the melody, than the pitch. That was her way of getting it out.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really, you know, Nina Simone's story is just really an incredible American story to me, because she grew up incredibly oppressed, not only by racism, but also sexism and patriarchy, and grew up in that. But with the breadth of her education in terms of classical music, thought, well, this is my ticket. I'm a classical pianist, and the sound that I play can't be denied. But it was denied a lot of times. And so when she began creating music, she wrote about the things that she saw around her, the issues around her. If I'm going to do this as an artist, I have to reflect the times that I'm living in. She said it was irresponsible not to. And it was almost as if she was willing to sacrifice the Gladys Knight or Aretha Franklin type career in
Yep.
order to get that message out, in order to change things.
She couldn't do it any differently. Like she had those words had to come out of her mouth, even though she knew it probably would damage her career, and it ended up damaging her career, where she really couldn't play those bigger shows anymore. She was a little bit shunned
Yeah.
by a lot of promoters, and ended up living kind of a little bit in exile. She went to Liberia for a long time, and I don't think she her later years, she really wasn't very prosperous and didn't have a lot of money. And it's really sad,
Yeah.
because someone that
It's,
can be that true to what they believe should be celebrated. And
that's
one of the quotes that I got from the movie at the end, somebody said that she was not at odds with the times were at odds with her. So there is something to be said for, as an artist, trying to fit into the culture that you're in today. I mean, a lot of people that really bucked that when they were first starting out, like a David Bowie, they were kind of labeled as weirdos. And then now we look back on them later and we say, no, that person was groundbreaking. They were absolutely true to who they were, and they didn't care if whatever people thought of them, like a Lady Gaga, or even Madonna when she first came out. Like, people thought that they were kind of nutty. Like, what is she doing? She's being so controversial. And now it's looked back on as like, yeah, it was no big deal. So she wore a wedding dress and sang about being a virgin.
right.
We're like, we don't care at this point. But
Yeah.
it just goes to show it. If you're an artist and you're going forward, you really do have to be true to who you are. That has to come across in your performance, whether you're performing covers or original music, or you're a painter or a sculptor or whatever. You really have to follow who you really are, and who cares what people think about you. Honestly, that's
Yeah.
what gets you forward.
And Nina Simone, it's like the old jazz guys. Like, she's right out of the same book. Like,
Yeah.
Jazz music in America was really not appreciated. All the
No.
people had to go overseas to get appreciation for the music. They were not doing it for the appreciation or the fame or anything like that. And Nina Simone, to me, is a blues singer. Because
Yeah.
again, we're not talking about pitch, we're talking about soul. And soul
Yeah.
and pitch have you could connect with somebody and not sing one correct note.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
art, the cool thing about art is that people can the only important thing is connecting with other people, right? So
That's yeah.
there's infinite
Right.
ways to do that, and every single person, especially the good ones, they find a unique way of touching the audience, and that's what makes them great. It's not necessarily all the technical this or that. Of course, those things are great, and
Yeah, and she was well versed.
right, and it really comes down to your own image of what it needs to be, right? So
Yeah.
musicians are always like the ones that are working and working and working. They're trying to hit that image in their head of what I need to sound like. This is what I want to share with the world, and that's why they're striving and working like crazy. It's because that's what they're living up to.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with and this is why we were talking about Janet Jackson. It's like, why is she? Because the music business and music as an art are two separate things. And this
Absolutely. Right. If you can join the two, wonderful for you. But that's a hard thing to do, to stay true to who you really are and also connect with all those people. It really comes down to being completely aware of who you are and staying true. I mean, that's what people know when you're bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
They know. And when you are really genuine and you just own who you are, however quirky that might seem, that's what people hear. They see the genuineness in you, the sincerity. That's what's really connects people. You're real.
But on the other hand, it sometimes will rub people the wrong way.
Yep.
Which is what happened with Nina. I'd like you to think about this statement. Nina Simone was an activist who played music, very good at music. Colin Kaepernick is an activist who's very good at football.
Mm-hmm.
Just something to think about. Think about the sacrifices that have come and what happened to his career, and he can't even step onto a football field now. That's pretty much what happened to Nina Simone once she started releasing songs that reflected how bad the times were.
Yeah.
And instead of people doing something about it, they'd rather keep her quiet. And it's the same thing happening right now.
And watching that movie, that was in the 60s and early 70s.
Mm-hmm.
nothing's changed. It
Nothing's
was
changed.
so disheartening to watch this woman and the thoughts that she was having and the pain that she was feeling and all the people around her, especially people of color. Like it was really hard to see that and know that. I was completely unaware of that, of course, growing up. I was born in 66, and this was not on my radar, not in any way, shape, or form. And just becoming aware of how deep this goes in the last couple of years, especially this last year, it was so sad to watch. And so I felt so bad, like just understanding the depth of people's pain. And that's really, when we're all human, that's really what it comes down to. People have pain. And if, as another human being, we should be acknowledging that with other people and trying to do whatever we can do to try to relieve that in some way, shape, or form, and have conversations about it, and just acknowledging that it's real. And whether you've never experienced it or not, doesn't make that mean that that person's not having pain. That it's crazy to dismiss it because I've never experienced that before.
Right.
Amen
Well,
and hallelujah.
empathy is not a common trait necessarily, and
Or compassion.
right,
Yeah.
right, exactly. Put President Obama, man, this guy, he was a wordsmith. Put yourself in their shoes, see the world through their eyes,
Yeah.
and that you could do that all the time, and it gives you perspective, and perspective. To me, is knowledge. It's awareness. It's a way of being a better person, because if you understand how somebody feels, then you're going to understand more about them, and then you're going to be able to communicate with them and touch them. Right, exactly. So
you gotta open your ears, though. You got to open your ears and put your assumptions aside, and really just listen to somebody talk and just see what they're saying.
Right. Imagine what it's like.
Yeah.
The only danger in it is learning something.
Right.
Right.
You can still have your beliefs when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nothing has to change with you.
Exactly.
Just listen.
Just listen.
All right. Lyle, you got a new Argo segment for us, don't you?
Yeah. Art Ghost, always ready to get on stage. That's what Art Ghost is. And today we got a segment where we want to talk about this video that Kathy discovered online. David Bowie is talking about not playing to the gallery, which means not catering to what your audience wants, but being true to yourself as an artist. Let's take a look at that
Never
clip.
play to the gallery. I think, but you never learn that until much later on, I think. But never work for other people. What you do, always remember that the reason that you initially started working was that there was something inside yourself that you felt that if you could manifest it in some way, you would understand more about yourself and how you coexist with the rest of society. And I think it's terribly dangerous for an artist to fulfill other people's expectations. I think they generally produce their worst work when they do that. And the other thing I would say is that if you feel safe in the area that you're working in, you're not working in the right area. Always go a little further into the water than you feel you're capable of being in. Go a little bit out of your depth. And when you don't feel that your feet are quite touching the bottom, you're just about in the right place to do something exciting.
All right. I half agree with him. I agree with the latter, that you should push yourself as an artist. You should reach for those boundaries that you think you can't reach for. I mentioned this before, where Donny Hathaway used to hit notes that just sounded like, I'd never be able to hit a note like that. Then I went 2 steps higher than him. I was like, oh, he's just a human being. So I do agree with that you should always push yourself. That's going to make you improve. However, the part about being true to yourself is complicated. And everybody doesn't get into the music industry because there was something that you want to share with the world. I saw a bunch of rich black people who were good at singing, so I figured I could do that too. That's what got me started. And then, of course, I became better as a musician. But when I was a kid, I just wanted to be like Michael Jackson. Everybody has their own motivation. But the point of where I think he's mistaken is you have to be palatable. You can't just come out with your own stuff and instantly people are going to like you. There's a gray area, because you can come out being yourself, but you have to be so good that it's undeniable. And I think that is where the key is. It's not just about being unique, because there's a lot of unique people. they're called weirdos. But if they're good and they're entertaining and they're engaging, they're called artists.
Right.
So that's the difference. I think he's almost there, but you can't tell that to any schmuck, because there's a lot of people out here who are unique, but they're also whack. They're terrible. They suck. They can't sing.
There's
like Kiss.
Well, we have to have a business hat on too when we're doing this for money, because, he's David Bowie. He's got money. He can kind of do whatever the hell he wants, which is really what he did. And maybe in the beginning that wasn't always true for him, but he can say that when the moment that he was saying that is, now you've already made it. So yeah, you're right. In order to make it, you do have to be palatable, and you do have to appeal to enough people.
Right.
Maybe not everybody, but you have
Right.
to appeal to enough people that you can get people to come see you a lot, and build your audience. And you have to have that business hat on at the same time. Where, if I'm completely out there, that's taking a huge risk. And if but like you said, you can slowly release that a little bit at a time, and you kind of let people get used to you, and then you do the next thing, and then you do the next thing. I think like someone like Lady Gaga, that's the same thing. She didn't walk around wearing meat dresses all the time. When she first started, she was playing cover songs and doing her thing in little bars and stuff, just like we do. It's the same thing. But then once she became Lady Gaga, then she can walk around in meat dress and piss people off.
Right. I mean, look,
from the get-go.
Yeah, 90%. I mean, if you look at the entertainment industry in general, 90% is bandwagon testimonial. I mean, how many times have you seen some idiot and you were like, how did this person get a record contract? And then the record after record after record comes out. And it's because they convinced enough people that they were cool. That's really all it is.
It is.
It's
like
person A says to person B, they're cool.
YouTube videos, Instagram followers, it's all pathetic. But I have to talk about just how he's acting on this video, because how people's body language says more than the words coming out of their mouth, right? Yeah. And the most important thing my band director taught me in high school, it wasn't anything about music. He said it doesn't matter what you say, it matters how you say it.
Yeah.
And he was talking about music, but he was talking about like talking to women, So, how is he saying this? And to me, everything he's saying is a lie. He's touching his, he's picking at his nails. He's touching his face. He's looking away. So there was something that he actually wanted to say in this video, and it wasn't dip a toe in and try to push yourself a little bit. It's like that to me as an artist is like, no, you are out there, like you're all the way in the water. We want you to come out all the way, so we just give a little toe in, please. That would be exactly what we need. And again, it sounds like a producer that's like, we need a lot of likes. And again, art and business, like you were talking about before. Yes, it's a very fine dance, and the ones that are too strict on the artist side end up losing other things because But it's about ideals as well. Right. And to me, sharing is really important. So if you're not actually playing any shows, then sometimes you have to look in the mirror. And it's like, yes, I might be conveying a message to the audience. It might be a message. But is that like what we want them to always linger onto?
Yeah.
And the long-lasting messages, those are the ones you have to think about. And it has to be a much more conscious idea in your mind, because that's how they're going to remember you. And if you have negative vibes from what you're putting out, is that what you wanted?
Right.
Yeah. Again, it's connection. It's all connection with that audience. And the more you can connect with them, you want them to think, I could be like you, or I want to be like you, or I like you, or they need to have some kind of warm vibe from you to connect with you. And when you're genuinely performing songs and putting it out there and making them move on the dance floor and remembering things that happened the last time they heard this song, or reminds them of high school or whatever, that's how you connect with people. And you can't be so far out that they're just like, what the hell are you doing talking about? This is so bizarre. I can't even comprehend.
Yep.
So yes, you need to be true to yourself, but at the same time, you have to be conscious of what other people. A lot of people are not aware, and they're not comfortable fully expressing themselves. So they're kind of living vicariously through us too a little bit, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say that too. Yeah, I mean, you have to know who you are before you present it to an audience.
Yeah.
I mean, I always tell people when we're in rehearsal that you should try to put on a show that you would be willing to pay $100 to go and see.
Okay.
If you come out of that rehearsal and feel like you wouldn't pay $100 to go and see what just happened in that rehearsal, then you got to start over.
Yeah.
That's always my thought. No matter how tired I am, whenever I get on stage,
Yep.
I got to act like everybody in there paid top dollar to see me.
And that's Art Coast right there. You just nailed it.
That's it.
Way to go. It's time.
It goes on.
I love
Oh, my friends. Today do I have the Dave Goes Off for you. Okay.
it.
So let's start our lesson today. We're going to talk about what they call the gig economy. Now, the news, Facebook, companies, let me tell you, they think that this is a positive thing. They want us to love what's called the gig economy. And what is the gig economy? I'm going to just put it out there for you. It's going to be very easy and very nice. It's fuck you millennials is what they are doing. They're saying, okay, you guys, you have college loans. You have a mortgage. And how are you going to pay for this? It's not with one job. No. You need to have more than one. Maybe two. Maybe three. We'll call it the gig economy. And hey, stop. We're not even going to give you health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So, 6 jobs, it's perfect. You're working all the time and you're getting no benefits, and then you wonder why you're doing all this. And it's like, did my parents have it this bad? Did the baby boomers have it this bad? They didn't have a gig economy. No. They got stock options from their first company that they worked at. They started at an hourly rate and then all of a sudden are making salaries. And then, no. You guys are the gig economy. You're going to drive your car around, drop people off for a few hours. Then you're going to go over here, teach a few private lessons. Then you're going to go over here. And then you're going to do your taxes and find out that you're poor. It's just sad. It's sad. I'm sorry. The gig economy is nothing but screwing the young people that are going to be paying for the Social Security of the older people. So, no, I'm not a fan of the gig economy because the idea of it is that we work all the time. So hard work is not going to make it in America anymore. No.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you have to do, just because you can't pay for anything unless you're living at mom's house and you're trying to pay for an entertainment center, but you live at mom's house. So you have no rent. Come on, give me a break. Like,
Right.
If everyone's living at mom's house, eventually there's going to be a problem. Like,
Yep.
come on.
You're absolutely right.
That's not how the world turns, man. People got to move out. They got to buy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to talk about the economy. My goodness, do I hate when they talk about the stock market. Because, again, millennials, they have nothing but jobs and bills. So you tell me how many people actually have stock options.
Pensions.
They'd have
Pensions or 401ks or
a
any of that
college
stuff.
payment. Like,
This is the biggest generational screw up ever because starting, I want to say in '67, there was a split in median household income, and inflation outpaced it. By right, I believe that minimum wage is supposed to be like $17.50, I think, an hour now.
absolutely.
If it was adjusted along with inflation, and also
And it
homes
would
are
be
more
higher.
expensive. College is 20 times more
College is
expensive.
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yep.
Everything is way higher, and you're dumping it on people who are already in debt because they had to go to college to get a decent career.
Because
Right.
you don't pay for anything. In Colombia, you could go to college for free. In Colombia. And this is the third. It's unbelievable. And you want to
Yeah.
say how America's so great. Give me a break.
America's
No.
based on the dollar.
There are example
the
after
most
example. You want to say education is free? Give me a break. It's not. It costs a lot of money. And then you go to college, right? And then you get out, and then what are you doing? You're driving for Uber. You're
Right.
working. You're working at the hot dog
degree.
stand, right?
And you're in debt for this degree.
Yep.
Right. That's supposed to be paying all your bills. And again, used to be you could make a whole living like supporting a family without a college degree.
Yeah.
Right.
I've seen
And
guys,
You
you
just
know,
gotta
like
hustle. You
older
just gotta
guys,
hustle and
you
then
know,
do it.
stock clerks, you know, they have a home, white picket fence, and their kids are in college. I'm like, what the hell, you were working at Ace Hardware? But this is how things were back then.
Yeah.
You could do something, a job like that, and then move up and get raises. I mean, now wages are so. There's a guy, people working 20 years at the same place, and the raise is still under $1 for the whole time they've been there.
Right.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
It's
Exactly.
stuff like
Blah,
that.
blah, blah.
And who's the House representative from California? She
Oh.
basically asked the CEOs of these like you got a bonus of this much money. Why do you deserve that money? And,
Yeah.
Right.
Oh
and
yeah, you're
again,
talking about Katie Porter.
Yes, and again, the answer it's like, well, other people make Henry
all
Ford, like the Ford Motor Company, he wanted people that worked at his shop to be able to afford the cars that they made.
That's right.
And again,
That's right.
this was the American dream. So Trump and all you other politicians, the American dream was no, you could work for Ford and buy a Ford.
Right.
It was not,
Yep.
no, you can make $1 million and everyone else can screw themselves. No, and this is
Right.
what we've come to now, where it's like, no, if you work for Ford, yeah, it's going to take you 8 years to buy a Ford, and then you're going to end up paying all this. No. There's no middle class anymore. I'm sorry, people.
That's right.
And if we don't wake up, and November 3rd is coming up, and I'm not telling you who to vote for. I don't care who you vote for.
Just
But
vote.
again, right, in Australia, you have to
Yes,
vote
we
or
are.
you get arrested. And again,
What?
the question is, yeah,
Did you
it's
say you have to vote in
it's a
Australia? or
crime.
you
It's
get
a crime.
arrested?
You're going to
Wow.
get fined. Yep, exactly. Because where's your priority?
Wow.
And
Yeah.
again, if everybody in America has their voice heard, and again, you might go to the polls, you might look at this and be like, who is this? I have no idea. It doesn't. And you might just guess on half of these people. That's
Yeah.
still okay. Because again, you're going and then the next time you might know more about the people. And because
I mean, ideally, you take time to. That's why I started mail-in voting, because I could sit in front of my computer and look at this whole ballot and then decide. I did that for the last 3 years, so this year was totally fine with me to do mail-in again. Because
well, I'm going
I
in
get
just
informed.
Yeah, me
because
too.
I know I don't want the Supreme Court saying any
Same
kind
here.
of mail-in BS. And again, okay, so we have a Supreme Court justice, Lyle. Yeah, you know how much I'm gonna go crazy about this nonsense.
Yeah.
But again, people don't understand what and I'm gonna say it, the Republicans have been doing. And you think they've been doing nothing, or you think they've been giving tax cuts or whatever. No. They've been changing the courts
Yes.
for generations ahead. Okay? All they care about is appointing judges. And the reason why is that judges and courts, they could rule on things and change the laws that politicians can't.
I can give you a perfect example of this too.
Oh,
There's 2 counties in Texas where they have drop-off boxes for voting to drop your ballot off. And there were a number of these boxes around because one county had about 400 residents and the other had over 1 million residents. And Abbott, the governor of Texas, ruled that they can only have 1 box per precinct. And this one county has 1 million people in it. And they have the same 1 box as the 400. Now that right there is just a piece. And so they appealed this in the court, and Trump's court-appointed judges struck it down. Now you got 1 million people lined up at this 1 box.
Of course.
That's how it works.
And again,
That's the
again,
microcosm.
And here's the bigger problem. Why were Supreme Court justices like appointed for life? And you want to talk about the founders, you want to talk about this. The reason why they were appointed for life is that they could be apolitical. It doesn't matter
who was in
what.
Yeah.
But is this the America that we live in? I'm sorry. No, it's not. It's I'm on this team, you're on that team. And again, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, baby boomers, but millennials are not on your side. And as much as you want to deny it, you guys are not going to be in charge of America much longer. Like your time is coming. And again, what are they worried about? They're not worried about giving you guys benefits for being unemployed, COVID, help, any of this other stuff. No, they're worried about getting judges on, so that way they could be telling you what to do for years to come.
Wow.
And
Right.
I just put it like this. We have not been able to have a constitutional amendment in, 60, 70 years?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and that, to me, is showing the failure of the democracy that we supposedly hold higher against all the other democracies around the world. And
Right.
Yeah.
And it's sad because we're at that higher standard, but not anymore. Now we're way down. And guys, if we vote, then things that we want will happen.
Yeah.
And
Gotta
again,
make your
yes,
voice
they
heard.
got judges. And man, would I love to be in a debate with some of these people, just
Oh
because
man,
I feel like they're not going to say the real things.
that's
And
right. Well,
it's like,
there's a lot of
come
reasons for
on.
it. Yeah.
Just put out the truth. Put out what you're actually trying to do. And Mitch McConnell. Hey,
Are you kidding?
No. And I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I don't even care. But here's the deal. If we get rid of all the old people in Congress, I feel like the country would be completely different.
Well,
And
yes.
we should not be ruled by people that are supposed to be retired in Arizona.
But
and
they're
in
hanging
Florida,
on to their
and-
power. They're
Oh,
hanging on. They
man.
are not going to let go. They
That's
are
a
Right,
perfect example, too.
exactly. And this is what I'm
Because they-
talking about, the gig economy. You keep
That's right.
those young people working so that we could be in charge for as long as we're alive.
right.
Stop it. Stop
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
No,
really
the
comes down to educating yourself, taking the time. Like, I did not have a taste for politics until the last couple of years. And the more I take the time to just start really looking at the crap that I see coming my way, like really educating myself and reading and taking the time. I mean, yeah, it's a pain in the ass, and I got other things to do. I got kids and a life and whatever, but this is too damn important to just like blow it off. You have to, as a responsible citizen of this country, you have to take the time to read and make up your own mind. Don't let
Yeah.
people tell you what you should do. Just because you like that person doesn't mean they're telling you good thing for you. Figure out what's good for you and figure out what politicians agree with what's good for you. And that's the person you should be voting for. Don't let
That's right.
anyone else tell you how to do it. It's your vote, nobody else's.
Yeah. Yeah. We see how much politics affects our lives now.
Yeah.
So get
Especially
involved.
this year. If you didn't get that message, of all things, if you didn't get that message
Exactly.
this year, seriously,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then-
Exactly.
Try to go to a grocery store.
climb in a hole, because otherwise, you can't complain. You have to step up and learn and read and take your civic duty seriously. Don't just
Well, and
blindly
there's plenty
say,
of
"I'm
reason to
not gonna
complain.
vote, it's
I'm
not gonna
telling
make a
you,
difference."
like California, they have more people than like 12 states combined somehow when it comes to voting. So again, this is part, like I was talking about constitutional amendments. The Constitutional College, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Oh yeah, the electoral college. Yeah.
Electoral college, exactly. It's not
Yeah.
based on democracy. So this is part
No.
of what I'm saying.
That's
Is
some
we're this high nation of democracy, give me a break. It's the idea that we look like a democracy and then it's the same old.
Yeah.
So
A couple of
we do have power, and the reason why certain people don't want others to vote, the reason why we don't want the electoral college not disband, is because they know what the masses are going to do.
right.
And hey, I'm just sorry. I'm sorry. Millennials, you guys know what I'm talking about. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about.
Well,
Yeah.
I would also say that, having a 19-year-old and a 17-year-old and meeting a lot of their friends, I do have hope for this country, that I think that those kids are taking the time to become involved and educate themselves and learn and listen and challenge. Like they don't care that it's always been done that way. They're willing to like speak up and say, that's nonsense. I don't know what you're talking about. Why are we
I love
doing it
that.
this way? And ask questions.
Well, absolutely.
Love
So
that.
I do have a
I
lot
fe-
of hope for this country with the
Yeah.
younger
I
generation.
feel my generation is the same way, Kathy.
Yeah.
Again, but it has to do with that power structure that's there. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
that-
saying.
That's
it's
the
hard
biggest
to-
thing
we
here.
gotta
that,
get rid of
yeah.
all this other stuff. And if we just
Yeah.
and people talk about term limits and all this other stuff, but the one idea I like about term limits is that no, being a career politician is
Yes.
not the point of being a politician.
Right.
Yes.
It's like no,
Yeah.
I'm a career musician. That's a career.
Right.
You know, I teach
Right.
kids. That's a career. But politicians are not something that's something, David Bowie, that you should dip your feet into and then
Yeah.
walk on back.
Yeah, because I mean, politics isn't supposed to be a profitable undertaking.
No,
it's
it's a sacrifice.
it's a civic, yeah, it's civic duty.
Civic
And
duty,
all of these
exactly.
people, you know, that are 40 years in, what the hell are you doing there? Get out of the way. You don't even know what's going on anymore.
No, you're so not.
Those
Hey,
people that
but
are
they're
in
making money.
Congress, yeah,
They're
yeah. I
making
mean,
money.
it's all
Follow the money.
very rich and very powerful people telling working class people
Right.
that poor people are the reason for the bad things in their life.
Right.
Give
That's
me
what's really
a
happening.
break. Trust me, poor people are not the ones paying. They're the ones working all
Right.
the time.
Yes.
And there's more and more poor people because what do you define as poor?
Exactly.
And that's what I was talking about the gig economy. Because if you're working 3 jobs, if you work 90 hours a week and somehow you just are paying your bills,
Barely
to me, you're poor. But no,
That's poor.
you're middle class. Because
That's
you're
not how
bringing.
this country was born. It's if you were able to hustle, the harder you work, the more you should succeed. That's how it's supposed to be.
Right. But
That's-
it's not like that anymore. That's the thing.
No. And then
1967.
they put it in a nice, sexy dress, and they call it the gig economy.
Yeah.
And then they tell you, hey, aren't you happy? No, we're not. And again, we could do math. I'm not as stupid as President Trump. Like, I could do the math. I understand how it works. And hey, you can love President Trump, but don't tell me you love it because of his brains or his power. And I don't like Joe Biden either. But again, I'm not talking about politicians. I'm talking
Right.
about what I think America should be, right? And what we're striving toward. And politics are one obstacle. And this is why there are solutions. And my friends, Mitch McConnell, you will be dead soon.
Oh.
And it's gonna be a change. It's gonna be a change. Hey, you can't deny time, right? He's almost out of it.
Well, I don't know. I heard the good die young, but pricks live forever.
I guarantee. But hey, if he can install more and more judges, it's gonna be a bigger problem. And I'm not.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not putting anything down on him. I hope he loses his race in Kentucky and he goes and retires like he should have years and years ago. And honestly, the old Democrats, the same thing. You guys need to leave. Like Dick Durbin, I've seen commercials for him in Illinois, and I'm thinking the same thing. It's like, dude, thank you. You had whatever 6 terms.
But yeah, move along.
Goodbye.
Let someone else come along.
Because right. Who is
You
that?
never
one
hear
from
about
New
the
York?
mentoring people. You never hear about them trying to
Who's
bring
that
new
hot
blood.
one from New York, man?
AOC.
AOC. I love
Yeah.
that lady. Right.
Yeah.
That's the fire I'm talking about.
Yeah, get a whole bunch of them in there like
Exactly.
that.
Why do you think?
See what happens.
Why do you think they all call her stupid? It's because
They're
if
scared
she,
of her.
that's right.
Scared
If
of
her ideas really came to the
Right.
forefront, they would be so obsolete, and people would be
Right.
like, "Wow, we've been getting ripped off
The
for 40
Green New
years."
Deal. And you're like, wait a second, you guys are gonna pay for everyone to put solar panels on and retrofit buildings and rebuild road. Oh, that sounds like a horrible No. That sounds like a deal that makes a middle class. So
Right.
again,
If
why
you're
don't
not 70, it's a good idea.
Republicans made the first New Deal. So
Well,
That's right.
Let's promise amongst ourselves here, guys, that when we get old together, that we will slap each other upside the head when we're stuck in our ideas and say, "Listen to those young people; they know what they're talking about."
That's right.
Dismissing them.
Yeah.
right. That's right.
All right, let's move on to the Meet the Secondhand Soul Band. What do you
No,
think?
Kathy, you have to go
No,
off.
let's do the.
We're
Meet
gonna
the
move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, Dart, how are you?
Hey, Kathy, doing wonderful. How about yourself?
Very well. So great to see you. Everybody, this is D'Artagnan Gunn. He's our drummer, and we just wanted to check in with you. We haven't seen you in a while, and just want to see how you're doing and hanging in there with all this craziness going on.
It's been a challenge, but we're making it, taking one day at a time.
Yeah. So you're still working, right? You still able to keep working?
Yes.
That's great.
Still working. I'm on day shift now.
Wonderful.
And it's working out well. The hotel hasn't been 100% occupied, but I'm grateful to still be working.
So you're a building engineer for a hotel.
Yes, for Hyatt
Yeah.
hotels.
Okay,
Mhm.
wonderful. And so have you been able to gig at all or play out at all?
I had a couple gigs, outdoor gigs, of course, blues and jazz,
Mm-hmm.
and it was pretty nice.
Yeah.
Everybody had their social distancing. We had our mask on and so forth, but
Yeah.
it wasn't really any challenges, because everybody was doing what they were supposed to do.
Wonderful. And so now you've been playing drums for a very long time. How did you get started? And were drums the first choice of instrument or?
Drums was my first choice of instrument, and my best friend, he's deceased now.
Mm.
We were playing in church. Well, he was older than me, and I was just a little kid. And my mom used to sing in the choir,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a particular song that she was singing, and he put me on the drum seat. I could barely reach the pedal, and I began to play the song, and I did everything he told me to do. And before you know it, the whole church was just looking at me on the drums. And my mom and my dad, they were just crying.
Oh.
And from that point, they invested in me.
Uh-huh.
I got my first drum set that Christmas. And then they enrolled me into Lion Healy School of Music.
Okay.
They no longer exist downtown.
Wow.
They sell harps right now.
Mhm.
But that's how it all started.
How neat. And then so you learned in school, in church. So then when you first, when you kind of got a little older and became aware of the different genres of music that was available, what did you sort of gravitate towards?
Well, I gravitated to everything because my parents had all genres,
Yeah.
gospel, jazz, R&B, so I took a liking to all of those genres,
Mm-hmm.
and it helped me as a musician, because you never know when you're going to get that call
Sure.
to do different types of music. So that helped me tremendously.
Okay. And you obviously love what you're doing because you always have a great big smile on your face when you're
Oh
on
yeah,
stage.
yeah. When I'm behind the drum set, all my worries are gone. It's just me and the music and appreciating and accompanying who I'm playing with.
That's wonderful. And so do you perform with, it sounds like you perform with some other people too. Are those also, are they gospel groups or R&B groups? Or?
Gospel, jazz, R&B,
Uh-huh.
blues, you name it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
played all those genres.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we love playing with you and we miss you so much. And we're really glad you could join us on the show today. I neglected to mention we end every episode with Secondhand Soul Band, Motown Funk and Soul.
Secondhand Soul Band, Motown, Funk, and Soul.
Thanks, Dart. See you soon.
Okay, Kathy.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, I miss that guy. I miss all of
me
our
too.
guys.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It will come. It will come. Oh,
We'll be back.
man.
We will get there. We will get there, guys. Hang in there.
Yep.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for joining us on the Netflix party. Keep an eye open for, some future events. We're always looking for new ways to connect with everybody. If you have any ideas or any suggestions, please send us an email or post it on our Facebook page. We'd love to hear from you. We miss everybody so horribly. Cannot wait to get out and see everybody again. But we're, like I said last time, we're rebooking the gigs from this last summer to next summer.
Mhm.
So hopefully by June 2021, we'll be there. We'll be
March would be even
there.
better.
Okay, March would be even
Yes,
better.
yes, I'd be down for January, but
I would too.
again, yes, the times we live.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yep.
all right,
Everybody hang in there.
Motown,
We'll see you soon.
Funk,
Funk and
and
soul.
soul.
Hey, secondhand soul fans.